today I want to go over something that I've seen this happen weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so, and it's been on my mind, and I just wanted to play it for you because this made an impression on me, and I think it will make a good impression on you as well. This clip was at a town hall where Trump was being interviewed by Laura Ingraham. And in my opinion, he gave the most presidential statement that he's ever made. This is Trump's most presidential moment ever, I believe. And if you are on the fence on whether you should vote for Trump, maybe you know that Biden's a disaster, a train wreck, complete dereliction of duty. I mean, you could go down the list. I think a lot of us know that. I think a lot of us, but then there's some people that are still put off by Trump's personality, and maybe that's you. And maybe you just you didn't vote last time, and you just couldn't stomach voting for Trump because you just didn't think he was serious. You just thought he was all about himself still. And maybe you're not seeing all the right news sources and you're not getting the whole picture. I don't know. I've never doubted that myself. But maybe you have. There's a lot of people that have. But this right here, if this doesn't change your mind that Trump seriously loves this country and that he is going to do everything he can to protect it, I don't know what will. I mean, you saw what he did the first term. You saw how he did just about everything that he either did what he promised to do or he tried to do just about every single thing that he promised to do. He built 400 and some odd miles of wall. He would have built more if he didn't have so much, so much pushback from the Democrat Party. They stopped him at every turn. He had to sue and go to court, and finally he ended up having to use military money, which is typically not something that is used to build the wall or to build for our border, but he used it as the means to do that because that was the only way that he could get the money to build the wall. Biden went in there when he was elected, and he completely reversed all the Trump policies, illegal immigration policies. He stop building the wall, just let the pieces of the wall just sit there and just rust out. He ended the he reinstituted the catch and release policy, the remain in Mexico policy, all of the policies that Trump did that made basically resulted in illegal immigration going down to a trickle by the end of Trump's term. Biden completely turned that around, opened the borders, effectively helping them, flying them to cities as they were coming in the middle of the night. I mean, this is just all fact. It's not something that's debated. It's just they bust them, they flew them to sanctuary places, to other places in the country. I could go on and on and on, but our country is under attack. It's a form of attack. It's an invasion. We have cartels. We have prisons in certain countries being emptied out and told to come here. We have people on the terrorist watch lists. We have drug smuggling like crazy, like we've never seen before. We have human trafficking. All of it is coming through our southern border. And we have a president that's encouraging it. He wants it, if he even knows what he's doing. But at the very least, the people behind him are pushing him to do this, and he's opening the border wide open. And it's borderline treasonous, in my opinion. The number one job as a president is to protect the country, and if you don't care about that, you shouldn't be president. You're real on real thin ice with actually betraying the country. All that being said, I want you to watch this clip. This clip is excellent. We're accustomed to Trump being this bold and brash character, right? We see him at his rallies and everything, and he's kind of like this bull in the china shop, this name calling, crude sometimes. And the good part of that boldness is calling out the media, the Democrats, and the swampy Republicans, calling them out and saying the media. My favorite thing he ever said was the media is the enemy of the people. Hey man, so many people needed to hear that. I mean, we've wanted to hear that from so long from a leader. Hey, you get us. You get what's going on. You're gonna take it to them. You're not gonna be bullied. You're not going to be silenced by this evil media that has so much power, this unelected, almost a branch of government. They act as almost like a branch of government because they have so much power. And we finally had a president that wasn't going to be kowtowed to them. But part of this boldness and brashness, and we saw this sarcasm, they're sarcastic and this humorous, sarcastic side. Some of it was truly funny, and we all loved. Some of it was just crude and off the wall, right? And there's, you got the pros and cons of Trump. You got the good and the bad. But it's a man that fought for the people, that loves America. So at the end of the day, we can respect him. Those of us who saw, kind of saw through some of the nonsense, some of the pettiness. But he had this sarcasm and this humor. He's known for it at his rallies. Name calling, just, lock her up, talking about Hillary, just all of these things that he would use for humor. And there are times that, that people can identify with that so much, because so many times it really identifies with that he understands how we're feeling, that we have gone through injustice and a double standard in this country for so long, that injustice has happened against the working class, against the regular people for so long, that sometimes it almost calls for humor to relieve the stress of not being able to see that justice done. After year of that justice, of the elites and the power hungry and the leftist elites just running amok with this country and getting away with it, and all we can do is shout, and it doesn't seem like our voices are heard. Sometimes humor is the way to relieve that stress, and Trump seemed to lock into that. He seemed to understand that, and he used that humor, and he connected with the people with this humor. All that being said, sometimes humor is not called for at all. Sometimes we need to know that we have a president who actually knows when to be serious and knows when that humor is not appropriate at all, and when the rubber has to meet the road. We need a president that have a level of seriousness and gravity about him. We need to have a president that knows when he will need to show the measured responses that are needed, the measured, the serious, the sober-minded attitude about what he needs to do as president and what really matters. So the question really is, with Trump, with all of the baggage, all the baggage with Trump, we see that he does what he says he's going to do. We see that he stands with us as the people. But is there ever a time that we're not going to be able to trust him because his humor and his sarcasm and all of that's just going to get the best of him? I mean, he's human. I'm sure he makes mistakes all the time, I'm sure, as a president. But can he be serious when it counts, when it really counts? And I say, after watching this clip, all doubt has been removed from my mind. Check this clip out. You might have to turn it up because the sound didn't come out as good as I wanted to, but turn it up, listen to it, and I think you're going to realize that he couldn't have answered it really any better than this. Check it out.
You're extremely funny. I mean, you have a fantastic sense of humor. People who don't know you personally sometimes don't see that because you're facing very serious challenges and a very serious election. How might you showcase your sense of humor during this campaign for those people who might not be all that into politics?
I don't think I want to be a comedian with respect to the campaign. We have a country that's dying. We have a country it's a failing nation. I say it in my speeches. So it's a failing nation. We have a nation in decline. We are a nation in decline. I just don't think it's a subject that we're smiling too much about. When I see 18 million by the time he leaves, I think that's going to be the number. 18 million people coming in from places unknown. We have no idea who they are, but they are terrorists. We're going to have massive terrorism. We're going to have a big problem with terrorists. We're going to have a lot of problems. We have to get especially the bad ones. And remember what I said, the local police force. You have a great family right there, the Hines family, sitting in the front row. They lost their daughter to an illegal alien that came in, and we threw him out, and he was gone. And he came back in just came back in, and their daughter was killed by an illegal immigrant that came in during the Biden administration. So sad. So I just don't see that much humor in what we're doing. This is a very serious charge, and this is a very serious thing I'm doing. And I don't want to be, you know, if I start talking with a smile, they'll say, he smiled, because the fake news is just terrible. He smiled. What was he smiling about? And I don't really want to smile. I want to smile when we complete the task and make America great again. I'll smile.
You face
Trump's answer to this question by Laura Ingraham was just absolutely the perfect answer. I mean, I give him a 10 out of 10. She's like, you know, basically, how can you incorporate, you have this sense of humor, how are you going to be able to incorporate this into your next president, your campaign, your presidency to be successful, or something like that, right? He took that question, instead of his ego getting up there like, oh yeah, just making a joke about it and trying to show his, you know, display his humor right there. What did he say? He did not even crack a smile. He didn't crack a smile, and he went right into saying, hey, I don't see that there's much humor in this, basically. I really don't want to smile, he says at the end. I really don't want to smile. I'll smile when we complete the task, when we make America great again. That's when I'll smile. Because what's happening in this country is just an absolute atrocity. I mean, there's atrocities happening in this country because of our border. I mean, there are so many other major issues, but right now the most immediate, urgent problem is the border. We have this couple that was right there that had their daughter that was killed by an illegal immigrant. And then we know the story of Laken Riley. Laken Riley was a Georgia nursing student in college, and she was killed by an illegal immigrant who had been caught and then in New York City and then released because he was in New York City. He had been bused in New York City probably by the Biden administration, but let in under the Biden administration because we have open borders. But caught and busted for something else, I believe it was, that he was doing wrong, but had been released in New York City because it's a what do they call it, a sanctuary state, a sanctuary city. And so he was released. Instead of our laws requiring him to be sent back to his country, he was released for whatever the smaller crime that he did, and then he went out and killed her. He went to Georgia, moved to Georgia to be with his brother, found this girl on this campus, and killed her. That wouldn't have happened if Biden's policies weren't in place, if sanctuary city policies weren't in place. Something's got to change in this country, and Trump knows that. Donald Trump is serious about that, and he is not taking this lightly. He is not taking it lightly, and he's not going to laugh. He's not going to make a joke when we are in such serious times. We are in times that are trying the very reality, authenticity of whether we're going to be a country anymore, whether we're going to be America as we know it anymore, whether we're going to have a constitution that means anything anymore. He knows all that. He knows that it's all at stake, and he's not going to sit there and laugh about and joke at a time like that. I appreciate that about him. I think that's very presidential. I think it's the most presidential response he has ever had to anything that I've ever seen him have. What a solid, sober-minded thing to say for Trump. You know, this is the kind of attitude that we want in a president. He loves America. There's no doubt. I don't know how anyone can doubt it. He could have ridden off into the sunset with his billions. Instead, he is gone all out. He lost an election. Some people believe that it was stolen. He believes that it was stolen from him. There was a lot of shady things that happened at the very least. But he's going to come back again and try it again. 77 years old, he's still got his wits about him. He's still got his courage, his boldness, and he's determined to try to save this country from going off the brink, going over the edge. And, you know, God's the only one that can truly save this country, but he can use even sinners like Donald Trump. He can use people with that kind of personality. And we need to be willing to realize that. We need to be humble enough to say, hey, this guy's really trying. I'll give him a shot. I'll vote for him, even if we don't like his personality. You know, he has a dead-eye accurate read on what threatens America, and he actually loves this country, so he is dead set on protecting this country. I mean, that is number one from any president that we need to have. Biden, if he even knows what's going on, he doesn't care about this country. He cares about his business interests and money coming in from China with his son, Hunter. He cares about whatever they tell him to say on his little note cards. But we've got radical leftists that hate America that are behind him. And they are just going to keep allowing this evil to happen and people to die. I've just been saying lately, hey, love your neighbor and shut down the border. Love your neighbor and vote for Trump. Love your neighbor and be a conservative. Care about our kids that are being indoctrinated in the schools. Care about the babies that are being murdered. I mean, if you truly love your neighbor, care about those that are really the victims. The real victims. Trump does. And he proved it. He gave a perfect response, and he's proven it by his actions. So give him a chance. Thank you very much. I think that voting for Trump is the Christian thing to do. I'm not going to be scared to say that. It is the Christian thing to do if you love your neighbor. I pray that you will consider this. You'll look at what good government is supposed to do, and it's doing exactly what Trump is doing. It never talks about their personality. It never talks about what kind of personality they should have, or whether they should call people names, or all that. That's all personality issues. That's all stuff that we can criticize, and we should criticize in our president. But at the end of the day, does he care about this country, and is he protecting it? That's it. Does he care about the innocent? Is he protecting the innocent in this country? Yeah. He passed that test. He's passing it, and he's not giving it. You gotta respect it. Thank you very much. God bless everybody.